Question number 61. You have an Azure environment that contains 10 virtual networks and a 100 virtual machine. You need to limit the amount of the inbound traffic to all the Azure virtual network. What should you create? One application security group, ASG, 10 virtual network gateway, 10 Azure Express route circuits, one Azure firewall. So question is, you have a 10 virtual network, you have a 100 virtual machine, and you need to limit the amount of inbound traffic to all the Azure virtual network. So one Azure firewall is the completely sufficient to limit the traffic as per my understanding, right? But yes, we have to know why option D is correct. So let's go one by one. Azure Security Group, ASG. What ASG is? ASG used to group VMs with a similar functions. It helped to layered network security. But ASG work within a single virtual network. Remember, ASG always work in a single virtual network. Right? It can't control global inbound, global inbound traffic across the virtual network. So option A is incorrect. Option B, Virtual Network Gateway. Virtual Network Gateway is used for VPN connectivity like site to site or point to site, not a tool for limiting or inspecting inbound traffic. Means inbound in network traffic or internet traffic is coming. So it will not have a capacity to limit it. Not have a right to use the case here. Right. So option B is incorrect. Option C, Azure Express route. This is used to create private connection to Azure bypassing the internet and used to enterprise connectivity, not security filtering. So option C, Azure Express route is also incorrect. It means it is not related to the inbound traffic and all this thing because it only create the private connection and used for the enterprise connectivity. It means security related things don't have a property in the Azure Express route. So option D for Azure Firewall. Why it is true? Because centralized network security solution for the Azure. It works across multiple virtual networks within the peer or hub and spoke model as well. In means coming question, I will explain what is the peering, what is hub, and what is the spoke model. Right. So it works across multiple virtual networks. You can use one Azure firewall to control, inspect, and limit the inbound traffic across the all. Means we have a 10 virtual network and 100 VMs. So it is used to inbound. It can limit to inbound the traffic across all the 10 virtual network and 100 VM. So option D is the our correct answer. Question number 62. An Azure environment contains multiple Azure virtual machines. You need to ensure that the virtual machine named VM1 is accessible from the internet over HTTP. Solution, you modify a network security NSG. Does this meet the goal? So, option is yes. Why? Let me explain you. To allow VM to access from the internet over HTTP, you need two things. VM must have a public IP, right, to receive the traffic from the internet. And second is the network security group that must allow the inbound traffic on the port 80. So, in case the question is asking about the modifying the NSG, and you have modified the NSG to allow the inbound traffic HTTP, right? Means TCP port 80 to the VM. Then the VM will be accessible means assuming it already have a public IP. Means, as I said that if you have a right, then you can give the public IP and it is accessible through the internet. Then yes, have a public IP. So modifying the NSG can meet the goal. So answer is yes. Question number 63. This is statement-based question in which we have to identify the statement is true or false. Means the statement is correct or not correct. So first statement is identities stored in on-premises Active Directory can be synchronized to Azure Active Directory. Means Azure AD. So yes, Azure Microsoft offers to call Azure AD can connect with which is designed especially for these people. It synchronizes user identity group and other objects from the traditional on-premises Active Directory as well. This allows user to use their familiar on the premises credential to access cloud services like Microsoft 365, Azure resources, and other SaaS applications. This is a common and a fundamental step for the organization to adopt a hybrid identity model. So statement one is true. Statement two is identity stored in Azure Active Directory, third-party cloud service, and on-premises Active Directory can be used to access Azure resources. So yes, this statement is also true. Azure AD identities by default, identity created directly in Azure AD can access Azure resources. On-premises Active Directory entities are is something. This is the first point. Once we synchronize Azure AD to these entities, are treated as the valid user in the Azure AD, and that can grant access to the resources. Third-party cloud services. Yes, I am telling about all these things is like Azure AD entity, on-premises Active Directory entities, and now I am telling about the third-party cloud services, right? So third-party cloud services is Azure AD that can be configured to trust entity from other entities provider, that is IDPS, through the Federation Protocol like SAML or OpenID Connect. For example, an organization cloud or an, for example, an organization could configure Azure AD to accept entities from the Google Workspace or other Salesforce account. Okay. Then this allow to sign in and means SSO single sign-on experience where user from these other services can access Azure resources without having create a separate account in Azure AD. So all these three is Azure AD, on-premises Active Directory entities, and third-party cloud services. All three are the we can access from the Azure resource. So statement two is true. Statement three. Azure can build an in authentication and authorization service that provides secure access to Azure resources. This statement is also true. Why? Because Azure AD is the core service that provides the capability of the authentication and authorization. Right. And for the authorization, rollback, Azure rollback access control that we are doing, are that we have also read. So statement three is also question number 64. This is also a statement based question. We have to select statement is true or false. First statement is Azure Active Directory, that is Azure it is required to implement of domain control on the Azure virtual machine. Is true or not? So this statement is false because this is a crucial distinction between the traditional Azure AD and the active Azure Active Directory. Traditional on-premises Active Directory is the directory service that relies on the domain control to store and manage their entity. These are the physical or the virtual server that run on the Azure AD services. Whereas Azure Active Directory is a cloud-based identity and access management service. It is managed service, meaning Microsoft hosts and manage the underlying infrastructure. It does not use the domain controller in the traditional sense. So you interact with Azure AD through the Azure portal, PowerShell, or other API, not by logging into a domain controller. While you can deploy a domain controller on the Azure virtual machine, but it is not to requirement for the using Azure AD. Azure AD is the standalone service. So statement 2 is false. Sorry. So statement 1 is false. Come to the point, statement 2. Azure AD Active Directory provide authentication service for the Azure resource hosted in Azure and Microsoft 365. Yes, statement is true. Because Microsoft 365 is Azure AD is the fundam, fund, statement 2. Azure AD is Azure Active Directory provide authentication service for resource hosted in Azure and Microsoft 365. Yes, statement is true. The fundamental Microsoft 365 Azure AD is the foundational identity service for Microsoft 365. When you sign in into this service like Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, or OneDrive, you are authenticating against the Azure AD. Azure is Azure AD is also a core service for managing accessing of the Azure resources. It authenticate user, it authenticate groups and application before you can interact with this type of like virtual machine, storage account, database. Other application like Azure AD can also provide authentication with for the wide range of the third party software as a service application and custom application. This is a key feature for implementing single sign-on across the organization and various cloud services. So statement 2 is true. Statement 3. Each user account in Azure Active Directory can be signed only one license? No. Why? And a Microsoft license which is include the suite of the product like Microsoft App, Teams and advanced security features. A Power BI Pro license are the business analytics. A enterprise mobility or security that is enterprise mobility plus security is EMS license for the device management and entity protection. So these licenses are assigned to the user account in Azure AD, and they grant the user access to corresponding service. Many organizations sign license for the group of users rather than individually make it the easier to manage license at a scale. So statement 3 is false. So our statement first was false. Statement second is true, and statement third is false. Question number 65. Your Azure environment contain multiple Azure virtual machines. You need to ensure that the virtual machine named VM1 is accessible from internet over HTTP. Right. So solution you modify a DDoS protection plan. Does it meet the goal? So answer is no. Why? Because the Proposed solution is modified DDoS protection plan does not meet the goal of the making virtual machine accessible from the internet because DDoS protection purpose is first of all we know what is the full form of the DDoS. This is the distributed then denial of the service protection plan. It is for the security service designed to protect Azure resources from the large scale and malicious attacks that attempt to overwhelm a resource with the traffic. It monitor incoming traffic and automatically mitigate attack by filtering out of the malicious traffic and allowing legitimate traffic to pass through. It is a protective layer, not an access enabler. Right. So, how to make a VM accessible? This is the question. To make a VM accessible from the internet, you need to configure a specific networking component. For primary way to do this, you can assign a VM to a public IP address and give the configure NSG means network security. You can need to connect with NSG to allow inbound traffic like port 80, 443, port 3389 means different ports are there HTTP port, HTTPS port, RDP port, and port 22. So if you want this, then you can do. But in summary, if we talk, DDoS protection plan is the separate security measure that assume to resource is already accessible from the internet. It help only to protect that resource, but it doesn't create necessary networking configuration, right? It doesn't create necessary networking configuration. Why I am repeating? Because this is the key point of this question. So you cannot modify the DAC plan and it will not be give you the accessible media. For this to access it, you need to change the make the IP public and you have to configure it in a network security group. That is NSC. So answer is no. Question number 66. Azure environment contain multiple virtual machines. You need to ensure that a virtual machine named VMI is accessible from the internet over the HTTP. You modify Azure firewall. Does it meet the goal? Same question which we have read like 65. You have a you have a Azure virtual machine contain multiple virtual. You have Azure environment contain virtual machine multiple Azure virtual machine and you need to accessible is you need to ensure the virtual machine named VM1 can be. Question number 65. Your Azure environment contain multiple Azure virtual machine. You need to ensure that the virtual machine named VM1 is accessible from internet over HTTP. You need to a solution. You modify an Azure firewall. Does this meet the goal? If you talk about this question, then just go to the previous question. Same question we have earlier as well, but solution was you modified DOS DDoS protection plan. So that was not meeting our goal, and as I already explained, to meet to make your VM to accessible over the internet. So what we did, I already explained that the you need to change the IP, make the IP public, and apart from this, you have to check the NSG plan. Means security plan means you have to make it a port to be a port like port 80, port 443, port 3389, and port 22. If you will make these port to inbound and configure it, then yes, you will be able to access. Same thing we are doing here as well. If if you modify the Azure firewall, then yes, you will able to access that one. So yes, the solution meet the goal. You modify the Azure firewall and it will be accessible over the internet. Question number 67. Now I think you people know why I explained too much. Question number 65. 65, question number 65, question number 66, and question number 67. All the question is same, only the solution was different. So, in this question, the solution is you modify Azure Traffic Manager profile. Does it meet the goal? Azure Traffic Manager, I don't think so. Azure Traffic Manager can help you to access this VM over the internet. Yes, no. Already told you twice and thrice that if you want to access, then you have to change the load balancing and make the IP public and keep the port like port 480, port 443, port 3389, and port 22. Make it allow to require this traffic. If these are the three way by which you can make it accessible. Question number 68. Which two type of the customer are eligible to use the Azure government to develop a cloud solution? Each correct answer present a complete solution. A. A Canadian government contractor. B. An European government contractor. C. An United States government entity. D. A United States government contractor. E. A European government entity. So, option C and D is correct. Azure Government is a specialized cloud environment designed and operated by the Microsoft to meet the specific security and compliance needed of government agency to United States. It is an isolated and highly secure instance of an Azure public cloud and used to build to handle sensitive government data. Here's why other option is incorrect. Azure government is for US entity only. It is explicitly designed for the US federal, state and local government agency and their tied partners. The physical data center and the personnel who manage them and they are specified certification like FedRAMP, Hive, DoD, DISA, etc. are all tied to US government regulation. Canadian and European entity would use the standard Azure public cloud, but in an region located within their respective countries to comply with the local data residency and store residency law. That is a Azure Canada and Azure Germany, Azure France, etc. They would not be eligible to use the US Azure government cloud. Eligibility. So, US government entity, answer C, are a primary user of the Azure government. Right. US government contractors, answer D, who work with and handle data behalf of the US government agency are also eligible and required to use the Azure government to maintain the security and compliance check. So in summary, if we talk, so Azure government is dedicated cloud for the US. public sector, and eligibility is the strictly limited to the US government entities and their contractor. Answer was C and D. United States government entity and United States government contractor. Question number 69. This is also a statement based question. We have to select the statement is true or false. To implement an Azure multi-factor authentication, that is MFA solution, you must deploy a federation solution or synchronized on-premises entity to the cloud. So, for this, I will explain that the statement is false. Why? Because while synchronizing on-premises entity to the cloud are using a federation solution like Directory Federation Service (ADFC) are common scenario where MFA used. They are not prerequisites for the implementing the Azure MFA. Azure MFA can be enabled directly for the cloud only user account that are created and managed by exclusively within the Azure Active Directory. This is often case for the organization that were born in the cloud and have no on-premises Active Directory. Therefore, you do not have a to synchronize or federate to user means Azure MFA. So answer one is false. Statement two. Two valid method of the Azure multi-factor authentication are picture identification and the passport number. No. Why? MFA require combination of at least two of the following. Like if you have a password or PIN, something you know, something you have like you have trusted device, like you have a phone, a hardware token, or a smart card, or something you have like biometric like fingerprint or face scan. So if you have these things means you have a password, you have a phone, or you have a like fingerprint, then only. Picture identification like the driver's license photo or password number are the forms of anti-verification, but they are not dynamic or interactive authentication factor in the way of the Azure multi-factor authentication works. A user would not be prompted to provide these during the sign-in attempt. Remember, to provide their identity, Azure MFA use method like push notification to authentication app, a code from the authenticator app, a phone call, a text message. If you are using any of Azure, if you have created your own Azure account and means if you are have Azure authentication app, then yes, you similar with this authentication app. Authenticator app will means once you are trying to log in, then you will get a code in your app, authenticator app, and there where you have to write same number whatever in screen you are seeing. If you will write same number, then you are valid user. Otherwise, you are not valid user. So statement was false. No passport number, no uh, picture identification is required. Right. Statement 3. Azure multi-factor authentication can be required administrative or non-administrative user account. Yes, this is true. While it considering means while we consider the best practice in for the multi-factor authentication is the Azure can be applied to any user account to Azure Active Directory. Organization can implement policy to require MFA all user, a specific group of the user or user accessing a specific application or resource, regardless of the whether they are have an administrative privilege or not. So this is often done to the comply with the security policy to protect entity organization and the potential threat. Yes, statement 3 is true. Question number 70. You need to ensure that when an Azure active, that is Azure AD user connect to the Azure AD from the internet by using the anonymous IP address, the users are prompted automatically to change their password. Which Azure service should you use? A. Azure AD Connect Health, Azure AD Privilege and Entity Management, Azure Advanced Threat Protection, Azure AD Entity Protection. So, the correct answer is Azure AD Entity Protection. Why? Azure AD Entity Protection is the feature of the Azure AD that is specially designed to detect and investigate legitimate that entity-based risk. It uses machine learning and history to entity-specific activity like signing from the anonymous IP address, exactly what the scenario described, signing from the unfamiliar location, leaked credential, malware, linked IP address, and more. Once a risk is detected, identity protection can be configured with the risk-based credential access policy that automatically take action and such as the blocking the user or requiring a password reset or forcing multi-factor authentication. Remember, it's also forced that you have to use the multi-factor authentication. So this scenario requirement to prompt automatically to change this their password in the classic example of the policy that can be implemented with the Azure Entity Protection. So Azure AD Entity Protection is the correct. Now let's correct which is the incorrect one. Azure AD Connect Health. Option A. This is incorrect. Why? Because this is the monitoring service for on-premises entity infrastructure. Option B. Azure AD Privilege Entity Management. This is service used to manage, control, and monitor access to important resources. It provides just-in-time access and approval workflow for privileged roles. Option C. Azure Advanced Threat Protection. This is a service is on-premises solution that monitor the on-premises Azure AD for the suspicious behavior and security threat. It forced on the protecting against internal threats and lateral movement once attacker has gained a foothold, not detecting or responding to this cloud sign-in for the external sources like anonymous IP address and all this. So option C is incorrect. So correct answer is option B.